Frag Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Frag Tag Radio. And here with you today is your boy, Pradius. First of all, I got to get those plugs out there. Appy Gamer, Appy makes you happy. You can download on Android, iOS, Windows. It's everywhere. All your gaming news in one convenient source. App is free. Also, gaming news and reviews. Another great app on both Android and iOS, as well as Game On. Shouts to Troy, which is on Windows Phone and iOS. So, all of them great apps. Feel free to download them, check them out. Of course, Frag Tag Radio on all of them. So, you can also catch us at fragtagradio.com, on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, pretty much everywhere. And with that, so Dead Rising 4. I've been playing it for a little over a week now, and it's definitely a fun game. So first of all, this is you're back to being Frank West again, which I know a lot of people were excited about because he was pretty much the favorite character out of all the ones they've done so far, from the very first Dead Rising, and it's definitely more Dead Rising. The graphics are definitely a little bit better than Dead Rising 3. There are definitely a lot more zombies on screen. The setting of going back to Frank West's original location from the first Dead Rising, well, it's kind of cool to go back there again and see how things have changed. The fact that it takes place during Christmas time makes for some interesting funny things going on. So how it goes down is Frank West is visited by another reporter in training, one of his students, and she convinces him to go back to the original town to look into these mysterious, strange things that have been going on at this military compound. So they go there, and obviously there's zombies there, and shit just goes downhill from there. And pretty much throughout the game, I believe there are 7 cases altogether. Case 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Each case takes anywhere from a half hour to an hour and a half, depending on the case. So take that for what you will. Pretty much all the weapons from Dead Rising 3 are back again, plus some new ones. My favorite weapons are the ice sword, because when you swing it, it freezes any enemies it comes in contact with, plus lets out like a little miniature wave of ice that freezes anybody the wave hits, so you can kind of get people in a distance as well. Also, the sledgehammer with the grenades attached to the hammerhead is really good for taking out huge mobs of zombies. Lots of cool guns. Of course, the crossbow that shoots the fireworks is still one of my favorite projectile weapons, along with LMG, and your standard machine guns. There's a bunch of other ones you can craft and create as well, flamethrowers, etc. There are also throwable ones that you can create, or ones that you can set down and set off, and then they start taking out zombies around them. There's one with the Santa Claus where you strap some bombs to it and then set it down, and it blows up and shoots knives into all the zombies around it. Or was that one's a bomb and one blows up and shoots knives? I think that might have been a separate one, but it's definitely a fun game. I enjoyed my time with it. I can definitely see myself going back to play the DLC. There are a lot of side missions, side things you can do. Most of it amounts to saving this survivor or that survivor. Once finishing the campaign, I'm not sure how much you would be enticed to go back and play through the whole thing again with the same story, just to, like I said, it is a game that's more about fun than the actual story. So if you're really a fan of Dead Rising, then you probably will go back just to play around and might not even make your way through the cases. I do know that after you finished it, you can go back and select a certain case if there's a certain one that was your favorite to go back and play again. So there's a little bit of replayability there. Um, Dead Rising 4's replayability comes in its multiplayer mode, which I had an opportunity to play with one of the guys from Capcom Vancouver, as well as a couple other journalists. It was definitely fun. It takes place in days, so pretty much there's it takes place over the span of a day, and over that day, you need to do certain objectives. So they give you a new objective each day. The first day you get one objective, the second day you get three, et cetera, et cetera. And the enemies and the objectives get progressively harder and harder as you go. And then if you can survive through until the end of the day, then you just have to make it to the safe house. And once everybody makes it to the safe house before time runs out, then boom, victory. You've had success on that day, and then it moves on to the next day, and then so forth and so forth. And the enemies continue to get harder and harder the longer you survive. At the end of each day, there is usually a boss battle, which takes place in a central arena of the mall. I think all boss battles take place in this central arena, so you'll always be going to this certain place to fight the boss. I would definitely suggest sticking together when playing with the multiplayer, because when someone goes down, they do not have a lot of time to be revived before they bleed out. So you definitely want to have teammates nearby at all times to help each other out, because trust and believe, you will go down. Sometimes you'll just get overwhelmed by a horde of zombies, so big that not even your best weapons can stop you from not taking any damage, and then so you will go down. One cool thing is that any weapon blueprints that you have accumulated from the single player campaign actually carries over to the multiplayer. And vice versa. Any blueprints you get while playing the multiplayer will carry over to the single player campaign. And while that's really cool, I will say that that is the only thing that transfers back and forth between the two. Well, I think your credits might transfer over. Not 100% sure about that, or I think it's called scrap or something, whatever. But you have separate skill trees, one for multiplayer and one for single player, and you'll earn perks separately for each. And you can go into your skill tree, upgrade your health, regeneration, your different melee weapons, the damage they do, chance for critical hits, same thing with throwable weapons, projectile weapons, etc., etc. Now, as far as the unlockable perks, there's really not a whole lot new in the way of that. It seemed to me like pretty much all the ones from Dead Rising 3 had returned. And I think I pretty much unlocked the same ones that I did last time, mostly survivability and weapon skills. So, let's see, what else? Well, with the multiplayer, there are 4 different characters you can choose from at launch, and that is what they told me at launch. So I do believe there's a definite possibility that more multiplayer characters could be added over time via DLC or updates and what have you. I would also think that they're going to have some single player DLC as well to expand the campaign, maybe some new cases to add on to the end and things like that. So graphically, it's a good looking game, but it's not the best looking game. It's not Gears of War 4, Forza Horizon 3 level graphics, but they're not bad either. I mean they're just good. The snow effects are pretty cool, like I said, because it's wintertime, lots of snow, cold outside. Taking down hordes of zombies, and I'm talking, you will see hundreds on screen at once. It was really cool. I will say it does need some polish. There were some glitches a couple times when objects got caught in the scenery while playing the campaign. I think the game might have froze up one time. Excuse me. In the multiplayer, I wasn't having too many issues. Now, I did have this one where I had unlocked a challenge or whatever, which unlocked a new blueprint, and it gave me a notification which took up half of the screen, and that notification just sat there and it never went away. And they were telling me that that's actually something that they were aware of and they were working on fixing. So there's a day one patch coming out that'll be there for day one for people who are just picking up the game. So hopefully that will address a lot of these issues. But I do have a feeling there will probably still be a few lingering ones that probably need to be taken care of, and hopefully they get those taken care of pretty quickly. The other two journalists I was playing with in the multiplayer, one of them in particular was having lots of issues. His game, he kept freezing, losing connection, lagging out. And on some of that might have just been his connection. I kind of felt like he might have just had a really shitty connection. So I'm not sure how much faith I put in all those issues he was having, but he was having so many. Obviously, some of them had to be, with the wear. And I think the guy from Capcom Vancouver who was doing the guided multiplayer session was even conceded to a few of them. So definitely some issues. If you're looking forward to Dead Rising 4 or you're a Dead Rising 4 fan, I would say absolutely pick it up. If you're a casual fan who's thinking about getting it, definitely put it on your Christmas list. But if you don't get it for Christmas, I would say maybe wait a little bit. Not only for a possible price drop, but mainly for another patch or two to get rid of all these different glitches and stuff that are kind of, hindering gameplay a little bit, if you will. So, and if you've never liked a Dead Rising before, if you played the first Dead Rising long time ago, weren't really into it, and haven't played a Dead Rising since, I would say at least check out Dead Rising 4. It's not on a timer anymore. You're not feeling rushed. You can take your time, have fun, enjoy yourself, which I think is a good thing. Now, I do know there are hardcore Dead Rising fans who are sad to see the loss of the timer and how it isn't as difficult as it used to be. There is a update or a DLC or something like that coming out where you can opt to turn the timer on. I don't know if that includes the whole Zombrex thing where you have to inject yourself with Zombrex every so often. I do know that in the timeline of where Dead Rising 4 takes place, zombieism has been actually cured, but these new zombies have a new strain of the zombie virus. Go figure. So the cure doesn't help people in this. So now I will say that I never had to really do anything with Zombrex. You do come across it in the campaign, but I don't remember having to do anything really with it too much in the way of that. So overall, like I said, it's a good game. It's not going to get Game of the Year or anything, but it's definitely not a stinker either. It's just a good, fun game. And I kind of think that's what a lot of games lose sight of these days, is that gaming is supposed to be about having fun. And Dead Rising definitely has that in spades. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. So if you're looking for a just straight up fun game to just play around, waste some time with, enjoy yourself, Dead Rising 4 could definitely be for you. And if you're a zombie fan, boom, even more of a reason to check it out. And I think that's just about all to say about it. And I also believe this might be our last episode of the year. I will be coming back after the first of the year with our FTR Game Awards for 2016, so you can look forward to that, as well as more reviews, more Warframe talk, things like that. So definitely be looking forward to that. I hope everyone has a happy holiday, happy new year, and I will catch y'all next year. Peace.
Frag Radio.